Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today DIY is gonna be all about this beautiful kaftan dress, the one I designed myself. This kaftan was designed by me. So if you want to see how I achieve this look to DIY your own kaftan dress, stay tuned and watch this video. There's nothing so hard in it. If I can do it, so you too can. Just stay tuned and watch my DIY. Your kaftan dress, you're gonna need your lace fabric, your guinea brocade, your tape rule, your embroidery neckline, and your tape rule. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna measure my length, and I'm gonna add 4 inch to my length for the sewing allowance. So what I'm gonna do after then, I'm gonna double fold it into two, self edge to self edge. Whenever you're sewing, you need to use your self edge to self edge. If the lace doesn't have any lace in the edge, so you're going to use self edge to self edge. So I'm going to fold it into two, then later fold it into four. Then the measurements you're going to use is this biggest parts of your body. The biggest part of my body is my hip, and my hip is 44, and I'm going to divide 44 into 4, which is going to give me 11 inch, and that 11 inch I'm going to add 5 inch to it. I'm going to have 5 inch to that 11 inch. That's going to give me 16 inch. So I'm going to go ahead now and measure 16 inch the way I'm doing this now. And I pin it down. I'm going to measure 16 inch. And I'll just notch that the side I've measured. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'll mark them with my chalk. Then I'm going to go ahead and just cut it out. So I'm going to go ahead and trace it out. I'm going to cut this out. When I cut it out, you can see I'm cutting the edge of the fabric because it's plain. It's plain and I don't need it. And it's not part of my measurement. My measurement is 16 inch. I've left the allowance and I'm going to stop where the 64 inch in our body. That's the body of our embroidery of our gown. So I'm going to go ahead and lay the trimmings on top of the body. That's the beginning of the body. That's where the neck is going to be. So I'm adding 2 inch to it because the embroidery trimmings is too small. It's 5 inch deep and I want 7 inch deep. So I'm going to go ahead and add 2 inch to it. So I'm going to go ahead and add 2 inch to it. So the 2 inch is going to give me the dip that I want. So I'm going to go ahead after then and trim it out. So I need to trim it out to show me where I'm going to cut to trace it out. So I go ahead and trim it out. So after trimming it out to show me where I'm going to use my scissors to cut it out. Don't forget the fabric is still fall together. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'll separate it. I have to separate the back from the front. So I'm going to use my scissors. You can see I'm separating it now. After separating it, I'm going to pull them out separate. The back is going to lay different. The back is going to lay on its own and the front is going to lay on its own so that I'll be able to cut it. So I'm going to lay them together. The back is going to be at the back and the front is going to be on the top. So I'm going to lay them on each other. So after laying them on each other, I've already trimmed it where I want my neckline to be. So I'm trimming that out. Then the next thing, I'm going to measure my back length, which is 1 inch and 1 inch deep and 3 inch wide. Then I'm going to go ahead and pin it down. Then the next thing is for me to get my shoulder, my armhole. My shoulder is 10 inch because it's kaftan. I want the shoulder to come down a bit. So I measure 10 inch. Then after the 10 inch, we have 6. So that 6, I'm going to measure the length is going to be 10. So the 10, I'm going to cut it in the shape where I want my arms to be. Then I'm going to cut ½ inch on top for the shoulder to slant the shoulder. I'm still going to do a video on how to do all those things. I won't show it in this video now, but I'm just telling you what I'm doing. So the next thing I'm doing, I'm folding the remaining fabric over for my arm. Then my sleeve, I want it to be 15 inch. So the 15 inch length, which you can see that I'm doing there, I want 15 inch length. and the wide is gonna the wideness of the hand of my sleeve is gonna be 12-inch. So I'm using 12-inch wide. I'm using 12-inch wide and 15-inch length. So I'm going to measure 3-inch on the bottom, then to shape out my armhole. So after shaping my armhole out, I'm going to come out where 5-inch stop. So from the shoulder to where armhole stop is going to be 3-inch. It's going to be 5-inch, sorry. So I'm still going to do a video on how to come arm and all those things. So I go ahead and give it an A shape. So the next thing I'm doing now is to place my embroidery neckline. I'm going to use that to face it. So I want to face it with the Guinea brocade, the orange Guinea brocade. So I'm going to do the same thing that I do with the body of my dress. I'm going to leave 2-inch from there to there. So I'm going to measure 2-inch. So after measuring to 2-inch, I'm going to use my chalk to trace it out. I'm going to use my chalk to trace it out. So I will trace that out. I'm pinning it down first so that I don't want them to move. You don't want them to move. You don't want to get a wrong measurement. So pin them down so that they lay together. So after pinning them down, the next thing is to use my chalk to trace the edge. And I'm going to leave half-inch. I'm going to leave half-inch. I'm not going to cut the same place. I'm going to leave half-inch after the fabric where I'm going to trace. I'm going to leave half-inch in the sewing allowance, but I'm going to cut it in that shape. I'm going to leave that half-inch because I'm still going to sew that in. I'm going to double it. I'm going to cut 4 or 2 of that. So I'm going to double them together. So I'm going to leave a sewing allowance for my facing. So that's my facing. That's the facing of the embroidery neckline. That's the facing of the embroidery neckline. So the next thing I'm doing is this design, the one that is star shape, the one on the dress. So I just measure my 10-inch. I measure 10-inch and I cut them like in circle, like when you're cutting your flared. So I double the fabric into 4. So I'm giving it my own shape. I do that myself. I don't see the design anyway. You can do whatever you want. Just be creative. So I do that, and that's what I come up with. That's what I come up with. And the edge that came, I can even use that as well. I use that as well as a design. So I just come up with that. I create it myself. So I've cut all those ones. So that's what I'm going to use to design mine. So the next thing I'm doing now, I'll take my Guinea brocade, the one I trim out the shape of my embroidery neckline trimmings. So I'll go ahead now. I've sewed it together. I've sewed those 2 parts together. So what I'm going to do now, I take my soft ironing facing. That's my soft ironing facing. This one is ironing. There's some that they are sewing. I don't like the sewing one. I like the ironing one. Nigeria, we call it gum stay, the soft gum stay. So I'm taking my ironing facing. I iron it in and I cut it out where I need it. I leave it to where I need it. Then I cut the remaining parts out and I'll go ahead and notch it on the side. I iron it properly and I notch it on the side. The notching is going to make the shape come out properly. So after that, I'm going to turn it over. So after turning it over, I will iron it. I want everything to lay flat. So I'm going to use my iron to iron it. I'll iron it and I'll trim all the parts that I don't need on it. So I'll go ahead now, iron it, the facing ironing. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and place it in front of the body of my dress. So, and I'm going to sew each round. So I'll go ahead and pin it down and flip it over. So I've sewed it now and I turn it over to the right side. So you're going to fold it in side out. So that's what I did. The out is the right side, the in is the wrong side. So I sew it from the in, then I flip. Then after I flip it out, I'm going to use my iron to iron it. That's the next thing I'm going to do. Then I've ironed it now. Everything is laid flat. So, and I put my embroidery line, neckline on it now. So I'm going to go ahead and use my embroidery. So I'm going to go ahead now and sew it round with my sewing machine. I'm going to put my sewing machine to zigzag. So I put it to zigzag to sew it down, to sew the facing down the lace. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to trace the edge of the embroidery trimming, embroidery neck trimming. So I'm going to trace it. I'm tracing it the way the cuff. I'm tracing it with my sewing machine. So the tracing is going to help me to stick it down. As you can see, I'm tracing the guinea brocade, not the embroidery. Yes, I'm still going to do the embroidery too as well. So I do it twice. I do it separate because, you know, we've got 1/2 inch that we used to sew because I want my orange guinea brocade to show on the edge of it. So I'm tracing my embroidery down. So now I'm tracing the embroidery neckline now. I'm tracing the embroidery neckline, the trimmings, embroidery. That's the one I'm tracing, and I'm using my zigzag sewing machine as well to trace it. So that's what I'm doing, as you can see. So it's becoming nice. So you just take your time and go through the cuff, the way the cuff goes. You just need the sewing machine to go to the edge of the sewing machine. Now I'm doing the inside, the front of my neck. I traced that one as well to lay the embroidery trimming down on the side, as you can see. So thanks everyone for watching. Check out the part 2 of this DIY kaftan dress. I don't want the video to be too long, so check out for the part 2 to see the full video. Thanks everyone.